Hi, welcome back to The In-Between. My name is Camille. The in-between is the space between endings and beginnings. In the old design model, we rushed through that phase. But in the new design for living, we're walking with intention, we're walking with mindfulness, and we are beginning to realize that we do not walk alone. Whereas in the change cycle, we learned about the actual experience of change, the external structure. Then we moved into the inner landscape to really bring respect and compassion to how we feel when we're going through massive change, to normalize some of the feelings that the old design model dismisses. And now we come to realize that we're not walking this journey alone. We have people and support outside of ourselves that we can lean into that are there for us. But the helpers are also helping us realize that we have guidance and wisdom within us, that sometimes those who walk along beside us are not always visible. Today, I want to talk about the observer. Now, this is my book, The Confusion Experiment. You can find it at my website, CamilleConte.com. You can find the audiobook at my podcast, The New Design for Living. You can even find the YouTube channel that has the 100 videos that I created at the end of each hour of meditation, because that's what the confusion experiment was all about. I used meditation to see if it could heal my confusion. It did, and it revealed so much more. It revealed an entire infrastructure of information and wisdom that profoundly and fundamentally changed my life and revealed to me eventually over time the new design for living, which is a philosophy of conscious creation. We're not quite there yet because we are in the in-between. We're going through transformation. As soon as we get on the other side of it and we become the butterfly and we're ready to take flight, we will embrace what the new design model has for us. But right now, we're simply learning about the terrain of change and learning how to walk with it in a way that works with us and not against us. In the confusion experiment, I met the observer, and it was a game changer. And I want to talk to you about how it can change your life as well. The truth of the matter is that we hear a lot. We hear a lot about meditation. We hear a lot about awareness and mindfulness. However, at some point, you have to experience it for yourself. Even my words can only do so much until you yourself decide to have the experience of what these videos are offering you. And the observer offers us so much. You've heard me say in some of the other videos, this moment when we go from being in the front row to the back row of our lives, that when you're in confusion and chaos and uncertainty, we're oftentimes in the front row. We are in that situation. We're in that condition. However, we're also learning that once we become aware that we are there are tools and strategies that we can employ that bring us out of that situation, put us in the back row so we can look at things from a detached perspective. And that's what the observer offers us. It offers us not just detached perspective, but it allows us to look at things without the filter of judgment. In the old design model, judgment is everywhere. It is a core functioning of the ego mind. It judges everything and everyone, including ourselves. We all have that inner critic. Some of us have it much louder than others. Sometimes it comes and goes. But the point is that we all have the inner critic that is showing us things from its distorted filter that came out of the distorted program of the old design model that was built on separation, duality, and outer authority. The new design model, that's not the way it is anymore at all. We're moving towards inner authority. We're learning again. We're remembering what is at the center of our own beingness, the wisdom that we all have if we create the time and the space to access it. And then when we do, build a relationship with it. And when we do that, trust its guidance. So the observer gives us this next moment of empowerment where we do detach from the chaos, from the confusion, from the uncertainty, even if just for a few minutes, to see the situation with a fresh perspective, to remove ourselves as the character in that kind of a moment, to the one who's observing the moment. I like to tell my clients when we do our work together to think about their favorite tree. And when we have the experience of the observer, I say, climb that tree. See a really sturdy branch that's waiting for you. And you climb up the tree and you sit on that branch safely, your feet dangling. You're safe, but you're also looking down at yourself, at the situation from a detached perspective and without any judgment. We're bringing that filter of neutrality to the situation from that higher perch so we can see if by looking at it from that perspective, we have new information. And 10 times out of 10, you absolutely do. In fact, when you begin to practice being in relationship with the helper, that is the observer, when you invite it in, when you say, you know what? Okay, show me how else I could look at this. Let me climb the tree of perspective and look at this from a detached place. Let me be mindful about how my mind and my ego might be spinning a narrative that is really blocking a more important perspective that will help me not only be in a better alignment with what's happening, not only experience the empowerment that comes when I am choosing what I'm doing with what is happening to me, but it also calms the nervous system a little bit and moves your character around the scene so that you can have different perspectives, different points of view that you would not be able to have if you were saddled with judgment, if you were only looking through the lens of separation, attachment, and judgment. I invite you to really play with the observer. I invite you to maybe even take the most difficult situation you're in right now, the one where you are judging. Have compassion. It's part of what the mind does. The mind is there to judge, to organize, to categorize, to make sure that you're going to be okay. So gently approach the situation. Give yourself permission to take yourself in the back row and to see if from that perspective, anything or anyone looks different to you. Because when you're willing to do that, and if because you do that, you do have a fresh perspective, an entire field of opportunity, an entire new field of information, possibilities, answers, solutions suddenly comes rushing in because you've created the space with your willingness to observe someone or your situation with detached awareness. Nothing in my personal experience creates the observer better than meditation. In the new design model, we have a different perspective on meditation. We come at it from a fresh angle. In the old design model, meditation is painful. In the old design model, somebody is meditating, they're in a very uncomfortable position for a long period of time, and there's nothing about meditation that the mind likes. It took me a long time to learn how to sit still long enough to be able to become the observer of my own thoughts. And that's what the confusion experiment forced upon me, because I was meditating for an hour every day for 100 days. Yes, as painful as it sounds, it was excruciating. I don't know, like the first 20, 30 days, it was terrible. My mind was freaking out. But I gave my word, and so I chose to do the experiment for 100 days. But all I'm saying is that in the beginning, it was terrible. I didn't like it. My mind didn't like it. But by staying with it, sure, in the beginning, when I had my eyes closed, sometime I would open one eye. I did all sorts of things. It was, looking back, it's like, oh my gosh, but it's okay. Because that's what I had to do in the beginning to get through the 100 days. And I'm glad I did, because there was that moment. There was that moment. I know there's a video in which I talk about it, in which I was detached, where it happened effortlessly, simply because I kept showing up for my own stillness. And so I want to encourage you to keep it simple for yourself. Again, when I'm working with clients and meditation is new to them, we just do 60 seconds. 60 seconds is a big deal these days. We're so overstimulated. We're walking around with our phone in our pockets and headphones in our ears. We have to really remember to take time for ourselves that moves us away from the stimulation. And so 60 seconds these days is a big deal. To simply sit still. And in the beginning, guess what you're doing? In the beginning, you're just getting comfortable with the discomfort of what you're doing. Sitting still is very difficult for the body and definitely the mind. But as you continue to show up for the 60 seconds, as you just continue to breathe, there's no agenda, there's no goals. You're not trying to stop your thoughts. That's never going to happen. Your thoughts will forever be there. But what the observer promises is a moment when you are not your thought, where you are observing your thought. You're the one behind the thought. When you get in the back row, you're hanging out with the thinker. You're not hanging out with the thought. You're hanging out with that divine mind that goes, wow, look at all of that. Now what do you think about it? So I just have so much passion and love for the observer because it changed my life. And it is a foundational element of how I live and what I am using in my own becoming. So give it a try and see how detached awareness might open a little space where something fresh and new could come rushing in towards you or come from within you. Have some fun. Climb the tree. Use your imagination. Close your eyes. See yourself climbing your favorite tree. See the branch that awaits you with a little cushion. You're sitting down. See what it feels like when you're looking down at yourself and the entire situation and all the people that's in it. What can that perspective show you that being in it could not? How can you simply focus on your breathing as a means by which you're practicing getting more comfortable with the discomfort of being still? Try it for 60 seconds. Just see what happens. You sit down, you set your clock, you close your eyes. You could put your hands on your chest and your belly, whatever. There's no particular position. I think it's helpful to be able to, sit with your back slightly erect so that you can just have structural alignment. But the most important thing is breathing. Even if you just spend 60 seconds focused on your breath and not your thoughts, because in the beginning, when you're learning how to meditate, it doesn't take long for you to be, like in Costco, going shopping in your mind, or you're having a whole conversation in your mind with somebody who's not even in the room with you. It's absolutely fascinating to see how the mind works, how your mind works. so that ultimately you can hang out with the observer who's behind the thinking and sitting behind the thoughts, like a movie going across the screen of your mind. The observer that can help you before you become the observer. You can use the observer. You can say to the observer, show me what you see. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm willing to see it from your perspective. You can start right there. Maybe you're not ready to be the observer. Maybe you're not ready to meditate for an hour every day. Maybe 60 seconds is too much. Go for 30. But go for something and talk to the observer and ask it to show you what it sees. And you will have an extremely profound experience. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.